Hi, Rhema. It's week 26, day 1 of our Bible narrative reading plan. Today we're continuing in the life of Elijah, his life and ministry. We're in 1 Kings chapter 19, and we're coming off of that great victory that Elijah had on Mount Carmel with the prophets of Baal, where God vindicated him, showing that Yahweh is the one true and living God. As we set the stage for today's reading, I really like the way one study Bible sets up this scene, and so I want to read this to you. It says, Elijah has won a mighty battle on the mountain, but a still more formidable opponent than Ahab awaits him in the form of Queen Jezebel. Victory now becomes defeat as Elijah retreats both physically and mentally, and ultimately arrives not at Mount Carmel, but at another mountain, to confront not Baal, but the Lord himself, whom Elijah serves, but whose ways he only partly understands and accepts. So with that introduction before us, we see Elijah fleeing from King Ahab and Queen Jezebel, who has threatened his life. And Elijah just simply wants to die. But God sends an angel who feeds him and cares for him. And Elijah defends himself. He keeps saying that, look, I'm serving the Lord. I'm very jealous for the Lord, the God of hosts, for the people of Israel have forsaken your covenant, God. And they've thrown down your altars, they've killed your prophets with a sword, and I, even I only, am left, and they seek my life to take it away. Elijah feels like he's the only faithful person left. And yet through this, God is letting him know, no, I have many people. I will continue my prophetic ministry until the day comes that I send the ultimate perfect prophet, Jesus Christ. And so the Lord passes by Elijah. He gives these signs, but the Lord is not in the whirlwind, and the Lord is not in the earthquake, and the Lord is not in the fire. He's in charge of all of these things. He controls all of this. But God speaks to Elijah in the still small voice, letting Elijah and us know that God is always working, even if sometimes it's almost imperceptible. Even if we don't realize God is working, He is. And Elijah is supposed to be reminded of this, but we see that he's still not fully encouraged. Even after God speaks to him in this still small voice, he says the same thing again in verse 14. He has his same sad story that he's all alone. He's the only one being faithful. And God gives him a mission. He tells him what to do there in verses 15 through 18. As we keep reading Scripture, we see that some of these things are never addressed again, indicating that most likely Elijah never did all that God told him to do. His heart still wasn't fully revived in the service of the Lord, but he does go and anoint his successor, Elisha. Now Elijah thinks he's the only one who is faithful, who is left. But God is saying, no, there's someone coming after you, and his name is Elisha. And Elijah goes because God has told him to go, and he anoints Elisha. He passes his mantle, he casts his cloak upon him. That's what it says there in verse 19. And notice what Elisha does. He says, let me kiss my father and my mother, and then I will follow you. He's indicating that he's leaving all behind. He's shifting his loyalty, his allegiance away from his family to the ministry of God. I say that because we see just a few verses earlier when that same word kissed is used. In that case, it's talking about people who have bowed to Baal, people who have kissed Baal. They have sworn their allegiance, their loyalty to the false god, Baal. And Elisha is shifting his allegiance, his loyalty. He's saying, let me kiss my family goodbye and let me seek after you, seek after the Lord. And then he goes back and he sacrifices. He takes his oxen and he kills them and he boils them and eats them. Why does he do all of this? Because he's making a clean break from the life he's had before to now what he's doing in service for the Lord. Elisha is showing us how we ought to be responding to God, even as Elijah is still discouraged, even when he's seen the great mighty works of God. Here's a summary of today's reading.
For more information, go to tunemyheart.org.